Welcome back, everybody, to my YouTube channel. It has been a long time since I have brushed off the camera and done one of these, but figured now that we're about 6 to 7 weeks into prep here, time to get out the camera, do a little bit of an update, and get on a little bit more of a schedule with the Diary of a Bodybuilding Dad series here. As we have kicked things off, we're starting to get into the thick of it, and yeah, like I said, I figured this would just be a great time to do this update, start documenting things a little bit more, not just for you guys and what you may be able to get out of this, but for myself as well. Prep is certainly something that I don't think is a full-time thing for me. It is a little bit more of a hobby, and so just to be able to document this process, to be able to look back on it years from now, is never a bad idea. And so for those who are going through fat loss phases, and if you are a little scared to take pictures, I do understand, but take pictures, document the process, write notes, have a diary, a journal, whatever, because as you do go through it, one, it is going to help, I think, you continue to work through the process. There's just something to be said about getting your thoughts out on paper, and things can be a little bit more organized, because prep and dieting can be quite mentally challenging for a lot of people. And two, again, you just want to be able to look back on this experience and go, wow, like look what I was able to do, look how far I came, and that's something that you can always have with you. So I always encourage my clients to do that for themselves. But before we really dive in today, just want to quick reintroduce myself in case there's anybody new watching. My name is Tyler Weeb. I am one of the coaches at Pro Physique, been working with them for about 5 years now. I do have my degree in kinesiology with a specialization in strength and conditioning, as well as some nutrition certifications along the way. So I've been at this for quite some time. 5 years prior to that, I was doing a lot of just one-on-one training. So a lot of experience with clients, working through a lot of things. And so hopefully, as you watch along this series, you're able to get something out of it, whether just me sharing my experience, the ups and the downs, because really this is what it is. I'm a new dad. This is my first time competing since 2018, obviously the first time as a dad. I have a 2-year-old, and so this is just going to be a whole brand new experience than the last time I competed back in 2018, when it was just me, my wife Stephanie. We were renting a basement suite, working full-time, and that was really all that we had going on in our lives. And so for those who have prepped, you do understand that it can be a 24/7 hobby where you're kind of always having to be on, tracking your food, being very diligent, and it can take quite a bit out of you. And then you add that along with other goals in life, being a dad, being a husband, working full time, and then having other things beyond just bodybuilding that I'm pursuing. It can definitely be a lot. And so kind of like I was just mentioning, the whole goal of this is to hopefully just share my experience, and there may be something that someone out there that can get out of it, because for myself as a coach, I do work with a lot of dads, and I work with a lot of moms and a lot of just people that have a lot of things on the go that are just beyond just wanting to be fit. And so a lot of time it is, okay, how do we balance all of this? How do we find that right fit of, hey, you know what, I'm trying to get fit, I want to look good, I want to have a healthier lifestyle, but I still have all these other things going on. So how does it work? And I think a lot of people do kind of come into it thinking that it's just going to be easy, and there's not going to be things that go wrong. And very well, 99% of the time, there are things that are going to pop up. So today, we are just going to do a little bit of a recap here, since it's been about 10 months since I have done one of these. So I will try and always keep these brief for you guys. We'll be going over, just like I said, the ups and downs. I'm sure I'll have training footage throughout, maybe a little bit of posing once that gets a little bit better on my end. We'll kind of talk about, in the future as well, the type of foods that I'm eating, what I'm eating, cardio, all of that kind of stuff. So we may not quite cover it all today, just because it is a bit more of an update. But in future videos, I will be sure to be going over those things. So just make sure to subscribe, follow along. I'll also be on my Instagram, so go ahead, check that out here. Give me a follow, as I will be doing a little bit of both as I go along. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we last left off with me, like I said, 10 months ago, I was deep into a building phase. And, honestly, it had been getting quite long. I went for about 4 years without competing, dieted once or twice in that time frame, but for the most part, was just eating in a surplus of calories. And so I ended last year with my coach, Dr. Joe Klemczewski. If you've never heard of him, definitely go check him out. He is fantastic. But it certainly was one of the most productive years that I had ever had in terms of building muscle, through my training, through my eating, and we were really able to make a lot of progress. And so what I'll do here is I'll actually quick throw up some pictures here from last time I competed, where I started this current prep with, and then the last picture being kind of where I currently am right now. So you can kind of get a sense of just that progress and the time that it can take to build that muscle. But like I was saying, we had a great end of the year, but it was certainly time for me to have a bit more of a structured goal and something that I was really going to work towards, because sometimes during that building phase, the goal can be, I just want to build more muscle. And while that isn't inherently a bad goal, it can be just a little bit not finite, but urethral, right? Like, it does take a lot of time to build muscle, and it can be like watching paint dry. You don't necessarily see it happening in real time, but all of a sudden you wake up one day, you look back on pictures, and you're like, whoa, I've built quite a bit of muscle. And so to be able to kind of then start to have that carrot at the end of the stick, if you will, was, I think, a pretty good thing for me, because habits certainly had gotten a bit sloppy. I wasn't maybe tracking as diligently as I should be, maybe having a few too many beverages on the weekends. And so being able to kind of have this prep come up was really, I think, a great thing for myself, and just really allowed me to kind of refocus everything as we started to move into January. So moved into January of 2023. That is the start of prep. Show days are July 9th and July 15th here in my hometown of Abbotsford, which is awesome. I'm able to just sleep in my own bed, don't have to worry about any travel. And I've also never really competed in front of friends and or family other than my wife and my parents. And so to be able to have this opportunity to have a bunch of friends there, have more family there, it was really a good motivating factor for myself, because the look itself and getting that lean, I don't really care about that. I'm much more happy to be in a maintenance phase or a reverse phase, have a little bit more body fat on myself. And so the look really never, or has not become a motivating factor for me anymore. And so really it's been, the challenge, the routine of it all. And then just, like I said, having friends and family there is such a big motivating factor to be able to share this experience with them, to, finish, accomplish this, and have them all there for that. And so as we moved in, we made an initial cut to my calories. It wasn't anything too bad. I come in at 190 protein, 250 carb, and 65 fat. Prior to that, I was up closer to about 350, 400 carb, 70 to 80 fats, and about 200 grams of protein. That's roughly where I operated during my building phase. And so about 100 carbs to 150 carbs less. Obviously the fats dropped a little bit. Protein, just due to my hunger levels, kind of kept them a little bit higher, so that that wasn't too much of a struggle for me, although there was a bit of a big adjustment there initially to dealing with those hungers. And so from there, we've really been able to see some amazing progress and haven't had to make any adjustments since then. I've been able to keep my macros right where they're at. I do have one refeed a week, but again, another extra 100 grams of carbs. Fats bumped up to about 75, so I use that once a week. And then for cardio-wise, it hasn't been that bad as well. For myself, I really always try and keep my cardio fun. I'm just not a big fan, and I don't know anyone who is. Just walking on a treadmill or sitting on a piece of equipment for cardio, it does just get boring. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. And so, for myself and even for my clients, I always try, encourage them. do something that is fun, that is active. So for myself, I do play ice hockey twice a week for about an hour to hour 15 minutes. I walk my dog 2 to 3 times a day. I lift 4 times a week. And then on the elliptical for some medium intensity steady state cardio for about 40 minutes a week. So really that's about it. That's what we started off with, and that's what we've been able to keep it as. And so, in that sense, this process has been a bit easier than others where, maybe I was spending a bit more time on the treadmill and doing a little bit less cardio, maybe, training a bit more in the gym in terms of volume and time. And so, just with what I've been able to do, my recovery is great. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I don't think that can be an underestimated aspect, of a dieting process. At some points, it's just not going to be fun, and that is the reality of losing body fat or prepping to very low levels of body fat. But I am a big believer in that you do want to keep it as enjoyable as possible, whether that's through your cardio, flexible dieting, still getting to have choice over the foods that you consume. So it's like, hey, I am eating foods that I like, give me good energy, all of that kind of stuff. And a big shift, for myself has also been with the training where I am doing far less than I ever have in the past. And, I've got to give kudos again to my coach, Dr. Joe, in kind of having this philosophy of training where, we want to focus on recovery. We want to focus on intensity of the training. And, again, spending almost less time in the gym is going to be probably more mentally refreshing than having to go to the gym for 2-3 hours. If you have an hour to an hour and a half workout, then you got to go spend 60 minutes on the treadmill. It's going to make that environment not very fun quite quickly. And I still, again, think that there is that importance of making sure that there is that part of us that we're still enjoying what we're doing for the most part. And we're still, again, going to have to grind through parts that you don't like. But if you can kind of find that balance of, hey, you know what, I'm still doing things that I enjoy, I'm seeing those results, I'm still on pace for what I want, then you're going to have, I think, a very, very good process that is, going to let you get to where you want to be, and you're not going to hate it the whole time. And that's been a pretty important thing for me because, again, the look of it, not that big of a deal for me. I did truly think that I might have never, prepped again after 2018. And so, for me to, have that enjoyment was important to make sure that I could do that because I do want to see how this goes and see if this is going to be something that I'm going to continue to do in the future. And so to be able just to approach it, I think, from a little bit of a different perspective and a different way, has been quite important. But that's not to say that it hasn't come with its ups and downs, and it hasn't come with its doubts. And there really was a point, a couple of weeks ago where I thought I wasn't going to do this. I planned on stopping my prep. I was probably going to continue to diet just so I could get a little bit leaner and then build back from there. But the idea of maybe sacrificing that much and going through that much, it just wasn't super appealing to me, for a variety of reasons, and I did have my reasons. Is one, I enjoy going out with my friends. I enjoy going out for dinner with my wife. We have a 2-year-old now, and so I want to go out with her. And it was I don't want to be thinking about food the whole time that I'm doing these things. I don't like that type of restriction. I would just like to have a little bit more freedom to be able to live life, enjoy life, and just have that different kind of fun. And so that was a big part of it. And two, we got a busy family life. There's a lot going on. I work full time. My wife works full time. Quinn is in daycare. She's obviously growing like crazy. Has so much coming up and going on. And so again, it was coming back to do I want to have this thing kind of always hanging over my head whenever I've got something going on? No more sharing a meal with Quinn or making pancakes on the weekends together. Although I still make the pancakes, I just don't eat them. It was like, did I really want to kind of have that and sacrifice some of this? And I thought, no, I don't think I want to. And so I did, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I am going to pull out and be done with this. And then, after a very, long, good discussion, with my wife and just all the reasoning and what I was feeling and my thoughts, I did a 180, and I did come back to, you know what, no, this is something that I'm going to finish because I really wanted to set that example, for my daughter, and that, hey, I've started this. There still may be a part of me that doesn't want to finish it, but you know what? I'm going to finish what I started. I think that's very important, not just, for myself. I still think that there, is going to be a ton of value throughout this prep and what I'm going to be able to learn about myself, how I'm going to push myself, and just kind of everything that comes along with a prep. But just to be able to set that example for those that are, looking up to me, such as, someone like my daughter, and that, she sees her dad going through something tough, but continues to kind of push through and finish what he started. And so, it kind of was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna finish this. And so we did kind of then flip that decision. And so, like I said, it's had its ups and downs. I've gone off plan on the weekends. I've, eaten over my macros. I've probably had a few more drinks than I should have on an occasion, but, I would say for the most part, my consistency has been right around that, 80 to 90%, even if, 90% plus. And so because I've still been able to do that, I'm still easily on pace for a July timeframe. We're down close to just over 10 pounds, right around 12 pounds, sitting around 189. The goal is going to be around 170-ish. We're not 100% sure, but it's kind of what we'll predict where I'll end up, since that's where I've been in the past. And so at that point, everything is going quite well now that I think I've finally settled into that decision. We're going through, we're finishing it, and we're just really going to push through. And so that's kind of where we are at the moment. Like I said, I'd keep this brief, but here we are getting close to 20 minutes. So we're just going to wrap it up here. That's where things are at. Next week, I think we're going to be talking a little bit more about just what a typical diet looks for myself during a prep, foods that I typically like to eat, give me good energy, and then we'll do a little bit more of a weekly update as well as we start to move forward. So be on the lookout for these about once a week. I will certainly do my best with that. I may miss one here or there, but again, appreciate it if you've made it this far in watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and looking forward to bringing you guys along on this journey.